Hi everyone, I'm Fiona Forbes, and today I am joined by Dr. Clinton Lee to talk about his new book. It is Master the Art of Manners, Modern Day Etiquette for Any Situation. Welcome, Dr. Lee.
Thank you very much indeed, Fiona. And if I can ask the audience just to observe when Fiona so graciously introduced me, and thank you very much for those kind words. You put your hand out first, and only because you did that did I shake your hand. Had you not, I would have waited and perhaps seen if you had nodded or expressed a way of hello, then I would act accordingly. Absolutely do not put your hand forward first when you are being introduced to a lady. So, because if you do, and let's say Fiona really didn't want to shake hands with me or whoever it was, especially now that, with the pandemic situation that we've gone through, and there are still those that don't feel comfortable shaking hands. So, as a gentleman, don't do that first. Always wait for the lady.
That's wonderful advice, because I think a lot of people aren't sure what to do. As you said, coming out of the pandemic, a lot of us are finding ourselves in business situations and we may not know what to do, but there is etiquette that we can learn, we can practice for different situations and cultures. And before we get into the details, Dr. Lee, let's talk about etiquette. What is etiquette, and where did this whole idea of social rules, whatever you want to call them, manners, come from?
Well, it really goes all the way back for many thousands of years. And one of the very first books that was written on etiquette was by an Egyptian author, one of the Pharaoh's advisors. And he wrote manners of how you ought to behave in the presence of the nobility. And through the ages, that has continued, whether it's from Confucius or whether it is from the Italians. There has always been a major contribution through different countries and through the ages. What many of us are more familiar with is, etiquette, that's very snooty. You've got to put your finger out when you hold a glass of wine. Well, it's much more than that. When you meet people, etiquette is a language. And if you don't communicate with people in the way that they feel comfortable, you are alienating yourself.
And let's talk about etiquette and manners and how it fits into a business situation. I mean, we're in an investment environment here, an investment business, and really those little bits of etiquette and how we interact with other people with body language and what we do could make a difference to somebody investing in your company, somebody wanting to do business with you. So let's talk about that. We got the handshake out of the way, but what are other pieces of etiquette we should be aware of in, let's say, a North American business situation, business cards, introducing yourselves? What is your advice on that, Dr. Lee?
It really depends on two major factors. One of them, I would say, is dependent on the culture that you are interacting with. If it is an individual who's also from North America, raised in North America, then it would be quite acceptable. Pull out the business card. Hey, John, here's my business card. Give me a call when we're ready, and you tuck it away. Now, if you were dealing, and which we are now because it's a globalized industry and it's a globalized world that we are dealing with, and we get this interaction between individuals, corporations, and they bring with them their own culture. So if you were with a person from Japan or Korea or China, and you were to pull out your card and say, here we are, John, that would be very rude. You would have to take the card, hold the card by the four corners, and place it. And as I give it to you, perhaps a little nod, you would accept the card.
With both hands.
With both hands. And I would suggest you take the card with your thumb and index on the corners of either side, and then pause, and then look at the card. Now, it's quite probable that the card that they gave you would have a language that you're not familiar with. It could be Japanese, Korean, or Chinese. Don't say, oh, I can't read that, Fiona.
Right.
Right? Just pause and, And then if you needed to, you could flip it over and then give it the respect, because it is a significant moment when they give you their card.
So it's a sign of respect, really, and a sign of respect to accept it the way, whatever culture that you're dealing with, and knowing those things in advance.
Yes. Now, you mentioned in the business context, in the world of business, if we are going to simplify it, you want something and I have it, or I have something and you have it, and we have to come to an understanding. It's like a relationship, really, isn't it? And in order for that to happen, we must speak the same language. Now, that doesn't only necessarily mean the communication of whether it's English, French, Spanish, Chinese. That's the verbal. There's the non-verbal, which is when etiquette comes to the fore.
Wonderful information. And let's talk about travel in business, because just like getting into groups of people and meeting people in person, for business, a lot of people are traveling for business again. You're off to Singapore sometime soon in the future. A lot of our clients are off to different destinations to do business. How can you prepare yourself so that you understand culturally how to interact in a business situation? We know you've got your book coming, and that is definitely one way. But how can we familiarize ourselves so that when we are entering into another country, another culture, we know these things in a business situation?
But most of business transactions are conducted and finalized over the lunch or dinner table. Many might not agree and would say that it's at the conference or at the meeting room. But for those veterans, they know it's already been predetermined by meetings that they've had before. So if you are going to travel, I would suggest that you are very familiar with the practices and the mannerisms when it comes to wining and to dining. So if you're in Asia, let's use as an example, you are the CEO of a company that I would like to conduct business with. I am not of the same stature as you. I could be the senior sales director of this other company. So when we cheers, would you mind, Fiona? So when we cheers, I must ensure that would you mind? My glass is always lower than your glass.
A little bit of hierarchy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I was to do that, my glass is higher than yours. I'm not showing you respect. Now, it's quite common. You might see this where I am below you, but you feel that, no, I am more important, and you would go below me. And then I would go below you.
And then when do you stop?
On your knees, literally on your knees.
Really?
Yes, and I've seen that many times.
Well, my culture says slancha when we say
Slancha, yes,
slancha.
you do.
Cheers.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Good to know. And when is the book coming out, Dr. Lee?
I'm delighted to say that the book has been earmarked for the 17th of October this year. So although that is the time of the print, all good things are worth waiting for, and it is available right now online with Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Chapters, Indigo, and many other platforms.
Wonderful. So you can get it. Make sure that you get your hands on it. Well, Dr. Lee, we will definitely have you back because I have so many more questions about etiquette around the world. But thank you so much for joining me today.
It's been a pleasure. And one last parting note.
Yes.
When you're sitting with Asians, you are conducting business, don't fidget with your leg like that.
Now, I've always read fidgeting, because I grew up here in North America, as being nervous, or you want to get up, you're in a rush. What does it mean in other cultures?
Well, there is this aspect of the Asian thought where if you are sitting and your leg is fidgeting like that, you're going to be losing your money.
And that's not what you want to do in a
So
business
why would
situation.
anybody want to get into business with you if we can see you ready, you're going to lose money?
Simple, wonderful, doable advice. Thank you again, Dr. Lee. I'm Fiona Forbes for Investment Pitch Media, and we shall see you again next time. See, I'm going to shake your hand. I'm offering it first.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fiona.